Good day, everyone. Today we'll be looking at some concepts in Python. We'll be looking at data type conversion, input functions, and operators in Python. Now, quickly, let's start data type conversion. Now, data type conversion talks about converting a particular data type to another data type. Okay, so the act of you converting a data type, let's say an example, an integer to a string or a boolean to a string is data type conversion. Now in Python, we have two data type conversion. We have the implicit data type conversion and the explicit data type conversion. So we'll be looking at them one after the other. So firstly, we'll be looking at the implicit data type conversion. So the implicit data type conversion talks about the kernel or the interpreter is responsible for converting the data to the right data type. Okay, an example or illustration can be, so I'll create a variable called num is equals to 10. So assuming we create a variable and we do not know what data type it is, okay, we can use the type function. All right, so if I use print type and I pass in num, and when I run this now, you can see it's giving me integer because the interpreter has automatically converted the num, which has an integer of 10, a number of 10, into an integer. So here now, the implicit data type conversion, the interpreter is responsible for converting the values into the right data type. Now, the explicit now, this is where we come into play, whereby we are the ones to convert the data type to the right data type. So an example, let's say I have num is equals to 200 and I have num1 is equals to 300. Some might be wondering, why am I writing it different? Why am I having different, why am I using one to differentiate the variables? Because in the laws of naming a variable, you have to differentiate them, okay, in order to run into an error. So now I'll say, and I want to perform a calculation. I'll call the calculation results. So change this to num1, use the double quotient. Okay, I want it in the form of a string. So now I want to perform a calculation. Let's say an addition, and I say num num1. So I'll print results. If I run this now, you can see it's giving me a type error. Why? Because we cannot add an integer and a string. So now is on a string now. To convert this now into an integer, what I'll do is I'll just add the abbreviation integer, open bracket, close bracket. Okay, then when I run it now, we'll have the answer 500. So we have been able to convert a string to an integer. If we also want to convert it as well to a float, we'll just change this integer and write the float. So we'll do this and we run now. We're going to have 500.0. Okay, floats in decimals, integers are whole numbers. Now let's go to the next thing we want to look at, the input function. Now the input function helps us to prompt the user. When I mean prompt the user, I mean to ask the user, okay, to get an information and store that information. So an example I will use, I'll say name, and I ask the user using the input function, enter your name. Okay, and I'm going to print the variable that's holding the name. Okay, so when I run this now, enter your name, and I put pen, you see it's giving me pen. All right, so with the aid of the input function, we can ask a user or an information. You can ask in order to retrieve an information. Now let us go into what we call operators. So let us look at arithmetic operators. Okay, so we have the addition, the subtraction, the division, multiplication, exponential, floor, and the remainder. Okay, the floor and the remainder. Okay, so the exponential raised to power 2, then the remainder of 0, remainder of 1. Okay, so we're going to be using these operators now to perform some calculation. All right. So now what we're going to do is we are going to assign a number. We'll call the number num is equal to, let's say, 33 350, and num2 is equals to 400. All right. Now I'm going to be using this num now to perform a calculation. So I'm going to use the print function and the f string literals. So I'm going to say num plus. So I'm performing the addition. Okay, so we have gotten for the addition. Then if we run this now, we are going to have the addition. Look at, you can see the calculation already. So I'm calling in the variables which is going to appear. The values are going to appear and the calculation. So since we have done for plus, let's do for the subtraction, division, multiplication, exponential, and the floor and remainder. So to do that, I'll just copy this information. I'll paste them. Why I just change only just the symbols. Okay, so I've done this now, and when I run this information, it's going to perform the calculation for all of them. Okay, exponential. All right. Okay, so that exponential, what we'll do is I'll just change this 400 to 4. Okay, so we'll run this now. Yes, now we have a better number. Okay, so that's how to use the arithmetic operator. Now let us go to the logical operator. So the logical operator talks about the greater than, less than, equal to, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to. So how to use them again? We are still going to use the same information. So I'll just copy this again and perform some operation. So I'm going to say, I'll copy this information here and I'll paste it, then change this. Let's perform for the greater than. Okay, so I want to check if for 350 is greater than 4. So if I run this now, you can see true. So because it is correct means it's true. If it's not correct, it's going to give us false. Okay, so we'll also perform for the next one, the less than. So if I run this now, you can see is 350 less than 4? False. Okay, meaning you're trying to say that 4 is greater than 350, which is not correct. All right, so that's using the less than. Now let's go to the equal to. So change this as well to the greater than or equal to. So I'm just copying information and change the symbols in between them. Okay, so when I run this information now, you can see is equal to no. Is it, you see, it's giving us the conditions true or false. If the statement is true, yes, it's greater than or equals to yes. Is it less than or equals to false? All right, so that's how to use the logical operators. Okay, now let us go into the comparison operator. So the comparison operator now, if and is known as the and is the multiplication or is the plus. Okay, the piper and the ampersand. Okay, now to use this information, we need to have some information, some variables. Okay, so now to do that, now we are going to create two variables. All right, so we are going to say we'll create a variable, we'll call the variable word is equals to true and word 1. Remember, this is equals to false. Okay, so their what type of data type they are holding is a boolean. Okay, true or false. So with these two variables, we are going to perform some calculations. So say print the f string literals, then I passed in word and word 1 is equals to word and word 1. Okay. Okay, so to check this now, okay, I think I just added a little, move that and okay, word 1. All right, word 1 is supposed to be in caps, so please ensure you change yours. Okay, you can see true and true. That means 1, true is 1 and false is 0. Okay, multiplication 1 times 0 is 0. So true and false is false. So the same we're also going to do, copy this information as well. So if I run this as well, now you see true or false. It said true because or is plus the piper. Okay, 1 plus 0 is 1. All right, so that's how we perform this. Then to get the not true, the not say print, and I add an information saying not word is equals to not word. Okay, so if we run this now, mean not true. When something is not true, it means it's false. When something is not false, it means it's true. That's how we use the not. So I will also do the same thing, copy and paste it. So I'll change this to word 1. Word 1. Okay, something that is not true is false, something that is not false is true. Then also we have what we call the membership operator. So the membership operator helps us to check if an alphabet is present in a group of words. All right, so I'll say words is equal to people. All right, so I want to ask now, I'm going to ask the interpreter, the kernel, saying that print, I'll ask for a particular letter, I'll say P. I'm asking, is P in words? And it's going to give me the okay. So if P in words, then P in words. If I run this now, you can see it's giving me true because P, letter P is present in people. And then if I ask, I change this to Q. So I want to ask the kernel, is Q present in the word people? So this is going to give me false, okay, because it's not true. Also, in the instance of something not in, so we ask, is Q not in words? Not in words. So we are asking the kernel that is this word not in words? It's going to give us the confirmation true or false. So is Q not in people? True, meaning that Q does not exist. All right, so that's how to use the membership operator. Then lastly is the identity operator. So let's say I have an information, I call it info, and I pass in the name of a fruit, apple, and I have another again, info1 is equal to apple. Okay, so if I want to use this now, these two variables now to perform the identity. So I'll say print get string. I'll say info is info1. So I'll say info is info1. So the meaning of this statement is we are asking, are they the same, identical? Are they the same? Okay, you can see it's giving me false because the spelling is not correct. So now I have changed the spelling, and if I run this now, you're going to have true because they are identical. So let's say we use northeast. We use the east and northeast. So northeast, if I say change this now to northeast, okay. Okay, I think we'll change it to east, not, not northeast. It's not. So if I run this now, you can see it's giving me false, meaning that they are actually identical. So we have come to the end of the class. I hope we're able to understand data type, the types, the operators, and input function.